Choina with the GM. Hey, sir.
GM, how's it
Hey,
going?
Ave. Good, man. How are you?
I'm getting some echo here. Let me figure out why this is happening. Test.
Sounds good to me.
I had to mute my restream tab. Okay. We're doing a little bit of a different format today. I was taking some feedback and put something together here for you guys. So let me drop this in the chat. This is our itinerary. GM, everybody. Yeah, that's right. And I had to switch around the order a little bit. I hope that's okay with friends, but let me know. We are also live on Twitch, Twitter, all the places. ZombieShepherd, if you can share a link to the live stream, or No Future, there you go. Perfect. Or what is that? No, that's something else. Gotcha. There you go. ZombieShepherd live stream. You got it. All right, we'll get right into it. I'll drop this again here for you guys. This is the document we'll be running through today. So I'll start with the schedule and then we're going to go get right into it. Give people just a minute. How's your morning going this morning, sir?
Good. Was in transit a little bit today, but been good. Pretty nice Sunday. Playing with ChatGPT a little bit.
Oh yeah, you've been ChatGPTing, have you?
Yeah. You got to make sure that you're getting the most out of those 25 usages per 3 hours.
Yeah, so that's the next thing I'm learning how to do now. I've actually, instead of learning the skill, I'm actually trying to learn the prompts, like how to be a better prompter. So I've been looking up YouTube tutorials on how to get better prompts in, like more descriptive prompts, so I don't have to, so you're not using 2 or 3 prompts to get the same result.
There's this guy on Twitter I've been following for like, say, 7 years. Brian Rommel. He's kind of a jack of all trades, but he's been doing some pretty good work on the prompts. Just drop it here. Cool guy to follow.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, thanks. Oh, I actually already follow him, so perfect.
Nice.
All right, let's get into the proposals. GM Senate. So can you guys, Coder Dan, can you see my screen share? Yeah, okay. Like print looks good and everything, because I blowed it up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. So
yeah.
All right.
Good.
Okay, so schedule for today, we'll do a quick proposal review. Then we have ZombieShepherd and Z5 talking about media delivery. Then we can quickly talk about the channeling proposal. I know No Futuristic had some, where there were some concerns around the channeling changes happening. So we can spend 10 minutes on that. We can spend 10 minutes on the Alchemica spending competition. Just follow-up discussion on that. T-Bird's Ghost Ship at 8:50, roughly. And then Rickage and Arcor on Aavegotchi Botanica at 8:10. And then, if anybody wants to hang around near the end of the meeting, I'll do a DAO lens kind of walkthrough and then closing. Yeah, Al is in the building. So, yeah, Al could speak to that. That'll be pretty earlier on in the call. So, Al, if you're able to jump on that and definitely speak on that down. Ricky G. Yeah, Phantasma. I'm going to ask him if he's cool with that. All right, let's get into proposals. Okay, here's a proposal review. We're going to start with this one here. Forge 2.0 request for funding by Dr. Wagme. So Forge team proposes a 3-month contracted period to continue developing and improving features on Aavegotchi protocol and overall UI UX focus. Planned deliverables include full geode functionality, respec potion completion and distribution, strong UI UX focus, and major UI UX improvements. Goal is for content to accrue value to native assets and compensation denominated in USD for a total ask of $161,000 and a 10,000 gross bounty budget. We have 58% voting no on this proposal, 41% voting yes. Quorum of 8.3 out of 9 million, and there's 0 days. Actually, we should check that one real quick to see where it's at. So it seems like, so the tables have turned a little bit. So it's at 55% for yes and 44% for no. So, and this proposal doesn't have very long on it, I think. That ends very soon. Okay, next proposal. Fund development of Strategachi digital multiplayer version. The Strategachi team seeking a grant of $131,000 to complete design and development of Strategachi. The game takes place in the Gachiverse and features a new type of asset called guild cards, which are NFT assets with in-game utility. There's a ranked mode, buy-ins, degen game modes, and mechanics create deflationary pressure on gachis and wearables. They also plan to host inaugural Strategachi Guild Wars, their model for ongoing seasonal tournament. They're asking for $131,000 or ghost equivalent, paid in 2 installments for the season 1 guild cards distribution, single player mode, multiplayer, and inaugural guild tournament. The grant is specifically for the digital version, but there is some collaboration happening with PC for the physical. 51% voting yes, 48% voting no, with 5.8 out of 9 million votes to quorum, 3 days left on that one. AGIP, these are the AGIPs now. AGIP 72, liquidity provision, reimbursement for the DAO. This proposal is to reimburse the DAO wallet with $5 million that was borrowed for liquidity allocation from the curve closing. 2 options are presented. You reimburse all the funds in DAI, or reimburse the $4 million worth of Ghost in Ghost, meaning using DAI to buy back the Ghost. The latter option is the one that got the most support, so using the DAI to buy 2.7 million Ghost. And so the proposal suggests deploying a swap contract with the liquidity wallet as the owner, basically swapping this out in little chunks to minimize market impact. 84% for the Ghost reimbursement, 12.5% voting for DAI reimbursement, and that's 7.7 out of 9 million that have met quorum. There's 3 days left on that one. AGIP 73, liquidity provision, adding the 2.5 million left in a quick swap pool. In this proposal, the remaining 2.5 million DAI from the 7.5 million liquidity allocation will be strategically utilized to enhance liquidity and cash flow for the DAO. So the plan involves allocating 50% of the remaining funds to purchase Ghost and pool it with 50% USDC and a quick swap gamma pool. And so that will effectively increase liquidity and also generate some fees for the DAO. They're going to do this swapping process over a 2-month period. So again, minimizing market impact. We have 96% voting yes, swap and add liquidity, 3% voting no, don't do it. 3 days left on that one as well. AGIP 74, DAO meeting management and delivery, one-time disbursement for fulfilled deliverables. This proposal was for me, aims to address feedback received from the original media proposal, basically split the proposal into 2 components. And so I'm just covering my own component here. And 91% for fund completed, 8.29 for do not fund, and there's 3 days left on that one. AGIP 75, Aavegotchi Anata collaboration. I was curious about this one. I was a little bit confused at first, but Hiro provided some more context. This proposal aims to provide Aavegotchi with Anata NFTs, and there's a similar mirroring proposal currently passing with full support in the Anata snapshot. And so basically it is we're going to be buying these Anata NFTs. They're going to be buying an equal amount of gachis and portals. And I'm thinking maybe there's an opportunity for some collaboration, community collaboration there. Anata has, they try to collaborate with other gaming communities like Pudgy Penguins, Cozy Penguins, and now Aavegotchi. The cost basically depends on what the DAO wants and what Anata DAO wants. And so it'll be either 10,000 DAI worth of assets or 20,000 DAI worth of assets. Currently, we have 49% voting for 10K, 27% voting for do nothing, 23% for 20K, and I don't think this proposal's met quorum yet. It's 7.7 million out of 9 million quorum. 3 days. 3 days on that one. Create a DAO treasury dashboard. This was by Mikey J. Pretty simple, sweetheart kind of deal, in my opinion. The proposed DAO treasury dashboard aims to offer a comprehensive review of Aavegotchi DAO's financial health and activities, facilitating informed decision making for stakeholders, assisting future bookkeeping and accounting teams. So developed in collaboration with iTree, the dashboard will display income sources such as Alchemica from the Gotchiverse crafting, Ghost from the Bazaar fees and GBM auctions, and Alloy from the Forge. Additionally, it will present a breakdown of DAO token balances over time, including Ghost, DAI, Alchemica, Alloy, Matic, and USDC. So this funding request is for 2,000 DAI, with 1,500 DAI allocated to iTree and 500 DAI for writing the product specs and project management. Potential risk that supplementary tool may be required in addition to free Dune analytics. If this need arises, the DAO will be informed. Additional funding may be requested. 93% for yes, 6.87% for no, 4.9 out of 9 million quorum, and that has 4 days on it. So we just ripped through all that. Those are all the active proposals right now. Arbitrum drop one got pulled. Minimal detail, no discussion. It was a new prop. This one, I don't know if this one's gone up yet. Let's see here. Cap the max earnings received from channeling. So this one just went live when this meeting started, actually. So maybe we can discuss this one a little bit. This was put up by Quincy, actually. And so I know, Quincy, you come to these meetings. If you would like to speak to that, that would be good. Yeah, cap the max earnings received from channeling. This proposal aims to address balancing issues with channeling by adjusting the base rate. And so it proposes a reduction to the base rate of Alchemica. And then it would also, there'd be a toggle be installed on Gotchi listings to turn channeling on and off with the default set to off. So rented Gotchis will not be able to channel unless the owner specifies. Potential benefits include immediate reduction in emissions, which I think is his goal here in this proposal. Minimal dev effort for implementation, no negative impact on rarity leaderboards. The proposal allows for kinship to be utilized in other areas, such as mini games and crafting, while supporting future-proof lending. Potential downside is a reduction in earnings for Gotchi owners. Yeah, there's going to be definitely a reduction there. But with the planned move on Gotchi chain, fees for channeling will be minimal, allowing the DAO to re-examine spillover rates without affecting emissions. This is a brand new proposal. This is his proposal. We can also discuss that as well. So that brings us to our presentations here. So we have ZombieShepherd and Z-Fi that'll be coming up here shortly, talking about DAO media delivery, or their proposal to the DAO for media delivery. And then shortly after that, we'll loop right back around. We'll come back to the channeling change discussion, and we can have a discussion around that. So Zombie, Z-Fi, you guys here, you want to come up?
Yeah, friends. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Excellent.
Welcome.
GM,
GM, everybody. GM, friends. So yeah, today we're going to take roughly the next 20 minutes to discuss your from A to Z media proposal for the DAO.
Awesome. Well, let me jump right in, I guess. Thanks for considering us. Thanks for giving us this spot here to go over it this morning. The proposal that we have posted in the Discord forum discussion is for a couple of things. So first of all, we identified quite a few opportunities for improvement, quite a few things that the DAO has said it needs or wants. And we decided to approach this kind of from a scattershot approach, and we're going to try to cover everything as much as we can. The proposal itself is, at its core, a sponsorship marketing package for our show From A to Z, which has actually been airing for 2 seasons already. We're going to be doing, I think, season 2, episode 14 this week. And it's essentially a 1-week catch-up. If anybody's not watching it, it's like a summary of everything that's happened in the Aavegotchi ecosystem over the week. We try to give people like a one-stop shop where they can catch up on all the things that have changed, announcements in Discord, props that are up, discussions that are open, anything you can think of. So the core of this prop is to identify and amplify those marketing opportunities. We already have a pretty solid reach, both in Web 2 and in Web 3. And our numbers are in that prop. If you click through to the Google Doc as well, we started a tracking system for that type of stuff. In addition to the current reach, we also have this, like, it's surprising me almost, but this rapidly growing potential reach. You know, we're part of a podcast collective on Lens that is all the biggest podcasts around: UFO, Rehash, Bankless. Anybody who's talking about crypto, talking about these cutting edge things, we're staying in that loop with them, and we try to touch on those and relate them back to Aavegotchi wherever it's appropriate.
Just to be clear, it's a Telegram group, not a Lens group.
Thank you. Yep. It's early. Thank you for the clarification. So we have this current Web 2, Web 3 reach and a pretty bussin' potential to expand that pretty quickly. So we're hoping to help fund the show, keep that intact, and outreach to get more people's eyes on Aavegotchi, more people into Aavegotchi, more people passionate about it. And ideally what we want to do is hook like community leaders, get them passionate, get them in, and then have them be the ones that preach that to their community, you know, if they've enjoyed their time here in the Gotchi space. So that's the basic, that's the like foundation of the proposal.
Yeah, and I just want to add on to that before you get into part 2 a little bit. Yeah, so we do have a pretty big reach with, you know, YouTube, Twitch, and Web 2 things like video services like that. But we're also some of the only Aavegotchi, or probably the only Aavegotchi stuff that's on TikTok and Instagram and reaching into that area. And we do audiograms for our show. And right now we're only doing about 3 a week, but this week we picked it up, and that would be part of the goal, is to do daily audiograms going out to TikTok and Instagram, and then beyond our other reach. But that's also just somewhere that nobody's reaching. And then beyond what we're already doing, we have ideas with Hobbs that we're talking about that would essentially be additional marketing on top of the things we're already doing, which is essentially a 60-minute Aavegotchi infomercial that we then break down into micro content across every platform that we can.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I see you guys have some metrics for your reach there. Is it okay if I put those up on screen?
Sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, let me open that up, because I don't know if everybody has access to it actually.
So yeah, I think it was good to be clear that like that first part of it is like we were coming with this From A to Z proposal regardless of what happened with the DAO media proposal, because this is something that we've kind of had, you know, we've been working towards this for a while. So that was something already. And now this part 2 was essentially because, hey, we're already coming with this thing. Maybe we can step it up both for the show and the DAO by integrating it into a larger, more holistic approach to both of these things and being able to solve all of the DAO's needs based on what they said in the various media threads that were going on. We kind of extrapolated everything that people said they wanted and said, all right, well, we can do those things, but that would be a much bigger lift than what we're already doing. So let's see how we can do that. And then that's part 2. So then if you want to take that, Z-Fi.
Yeah, that was a great summary, great intro. So it's a 3-question or a 3-choice prop, essentially. Do you want to support this first level? Do you want to support the larger package or no support? So the second package, this larger package, is everything that's in the original, the show support and the marketing package. But in addition to that, we wanted to address the DAO needs. If we're already going to be, waist deep in this content and we're already processing it through various means, it kind of makes sense to sweep a couple more meetings into that fold, and use the same tools and the same processes and provide additional value to the DAO beyond just our marketing initiatives and just the show support. So the DAO Media Archival Pack also includes consistent DAO call and Hangout live streaming and archival. So we'd get a live stream and a saved video recording of both the Saturday and the Sunday. The DAO call minutes and written summaries, and that would be just for the Sunday DAO call, not for the Hangouts. English transcriptions with names, topics divided for easy sorting, so you can skim through the document to the best of our ability. For the DAO calls, and then potentially translations down the road as well. At this point, we're not multilingual, so we don't have an ability to confirm or like QC translations. But with our connections both here in the Aavegotchi space and in Bankless DAO with the international media nodes, it's almost certain that we can find somebody to translate this stuff on a weekly basis. And then finally, the comprehensive weekly newsletter. That was mentioned several times as something that would be high value, highly in demand. Just like a short, brief, written document where you can skim and get all the updates in one spot.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at... Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to address, we are using AI for all of these things. However, AI still needs a human touch, and that takes hours, as we've learned. We've been using Descript. We've been working with DaVinci Resolve. We've been doing Resolve and editing for a long time, but now we're integrating Descript and Resolve together. And even using AI, AI makes things faster, but it still needs a human touch. It doesn't know the difference between a DAO and a DAO. It doesn't know what an Aavegotchi is. It doesn't know who No Futuristic is, or Hefe, or Boba. None of these things make sense to an AI. And it takes a lot of human touch to make it correct.
I have some questions regarding, specifically the structure, I guess the structure of the 2 packs. So I'm looking at the 2 packs right now, and, I see, hang on, let me just blow this up a little bit so we can all see it. You can see here, it has the marketing sponsorship pack, which is the 12,000 DAI plus 2,000 Ghost. And that basically includes all the weekly live streaming activity plus marketing of that activity, which kind of makes sense. But, just following up on our previous discussion around like media delivery, I think there's 3 things that at the very base, at a minimum, that the DAO would expect in even a, like a minimal offering of a proposal like this. Definitely the recordings, definitely the live streams. And the meeting minutes, like the after show, the show notes after everything, like a little summary. Even if it's not like a newsletter, it sounded like people would be okay with just a standard kind of minutes summarized of the show after the fact. I think those are the 3 things really that the DAO wanted. In terms of marketing, I think it could be effective, but we haven't really run any marketing initiatives as a DAO, and so it is somewhat experimental, even though you do have some pretty solid
one thing I get that, but I think that also, like, one thing that everyone was complaining about with the archiving was essentially that archiving was not marketing, and it didn't do anything for the DAO to just save these things. So our thing is like, we're already marketing. So if we add these kind of like more operations type things into our existing marketing thing, because marketing is what's actually going to make money and bring new people into the ecosystem, not archiving. And so I do understand that people want that thing, but they also made it clear, and it is kind of true, that like archiving is essentially just, you know, spending money to save things, where you could also be utilizing those things to get attention to the project instead of just like dumping them into a Notion where maybe we read it. But the community and the DAO call aren't very entertaining to an outside person. So if you have a podcast like ours that is seeking to market and turn this stuff into entertaining things, then it brings people into it to where then they do come to the community and the DAO call as Aavegotchi members, because they got in through the basically kind of clickbait engaging content.
Yeah. One of the conversations we did have previously was, you know, the representation of these meetings and the representation of the content that comes from these meetings. And so previously, this is very similar to kind of when No Futuristic was posting clips of the DAO meetings. I mean, I think if anything, if there was any sort of kind of marketing that was being done before on a very minimal, you know, nothing like this, on a minimal level, I would say it was probably No Futuristics clips. And so I'd be curious to know how those, you know, just as a comparison, how those clips performed compared to, well, we'd have to see how your content performs. But
well,
I see,
if you just go to that
yeah.
engagement tracking sheet you have there, you can see Instagram and TikTok. That is our short form Aavegotchi stuff.
So when you say reach, are those views?
No, reach is the followers I have. The views is the 90-day engagement.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if you see TikTok and Instagram, I get a lot of engagement there, and the same thing with YouTube. And Twitter's all right, but I post a lot there, so you can't really count the Twitter as just the micro content. But the Instagram and the TikTok specifically is a lot of our From A to Z short form content.
Okay. I know, and I'm not attacking or criticizing these numbers. I would like a comparison. You know, I know No Futuristic's probably the most comparable.
No, I think No Futuristic is saying something important here, and that's that the main thing we're trying to emphasize here is that this is a From A to Z marketing package. The DAO needs are built on top of that. We weren't trying to cut anyone out or replace anyone, but when it became clear last weekend that like that wasn't getting any closer to being resolved, we decided to add that as a step on top of ours, because I think that it could be, we kind of have to be tapped into this information anyway to have a good show. So it kind of means that we could effectively do that.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking what No Futuristic is saying here. Well, with just there's the marketing initiative, which is what your initial intention was for the proposal, you know, before any of this, and then there is the marketing initiative plus DAO media delivery.
Yeah, and that's why we put it in 2 steps, because essentially, if people want to go another route with the DAO media stuff, that's absolutely fine, because our initial thing was the marketing part of this. So essentially, if the DAO says that they don't want us to handle the DAO media stuff, that's fine. They can vote for the 12K, and that would just be From A to Z continuing to do what we do while also stepping up our game. So that is another big part of this, is we're not just going to do what we've been doing. We're going to use this to really increase our reach, to really get more into the realm of other Web3 podcasts. And I think that's the big value add, because when it comes to Web3 podcasts, we're also the only people besides Bankless HQ that are extending to other platforms outside of YouTube and Twitch and things like that. We're the only people actually trying to grow our crypto podcast to that like mainstream level, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from there with the marketing approach. I mean, Well, if you look at the $12,000 marketing, sponsorship pack, which implies the DAO media delivery plus plus some marketing efforts on top, I think if you had something like that plus the because one of the major things that everybody wanted was a written summary right after the DAO call, and I think honestly with AI, with the way you have like scribes now, it's a very I know there's some tweaking that happens afterwards, but it is almost passive now. Like you just literally have this thing in your browser. It watches your meeting. It'll give you a write out, and then you can just feed it the chat.
Fireflies.ai. It's not that easy. Like when you see these things on social media, they're like, "Oh, we gave ChatGPT $60 and it ran off and did this thing." It wasn't that easy. Anybody who actually uses these tools, it's very hands-on. They're not automated. They don't just like give it $60 and it'll start a $5,000 business. That's not how it works. Like,
no, I mean, and I've been spending a ton of time with AI tools, and I'm speaking kind of from my experience that it is at the same time, it is really quite impressive. Maybe this would have taken 6 hours to do, but now it might take like 2.5. You know what I mean? It's still going to take time. It's just going to take a lot less time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Thrax is saying it.
You just check the work.
Yeah, you essentially, even if you do your Descript at like 2x speed, which a lot of audio engineers, we do our editing at 2x to save time, but you're still talking about an hour. You turn a DAO call, 2-hour DAO call into 1 hour of time. That's already 2 hours of recording plus 1 hour of trying to fix it. This doesn't include any uploading, any editing, it doesn't include anything at that point. You've already spent 3 hours on the work using AI, using automated tools.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments here. We got a couple minutes left. With this budget, humans could do the work. That's the difference. Not a lot of cost savings.
I really think, though, since we only have a couple of minutes, like let's not focus on the DAO media part of this. This is more about the From A to Z marketing part of it. So if the DAO doesn't want us to mess with the DAO stuff, that's great, but that's not the bigger part of our proposal.
I think the biggest KPI, and I would kind of pose this as a question, the biggest KPI in my opinion is the growth of these meetings on Sunday right here. Like I know time zones and whatnot can be a conflict, but to see, we have 39 people in here, so to see in 3 months this be like 80 or 90 people, which would just be the conversion from our Saturday hangouts. That would be impressive, in my opinion. That would be money well spent, because now we are adding another 30 to 40 engaged DAO members. If we can consistently get there.
DAO members are already Aavegotchi customers, and marketing seeks to bring new people into the environment. So that would be step 2, is first bring you into Aavegotchi, the protocol, and then bring you into
the engagement. Yep, exactly.
We actually don't have a Twitter. Someone else has our name actually on Twitter already, but we have mainly focused in Web 2 as ourselves, and the From A to Z content goes to my YouTube and all of our channels. It did, so it kind of goes all over the place. We stream everywhere, but our Web 3 presence from A to Z is big. Like we focus mainly on our Web 3 presence, and everything Web 2 goes through Z-Fi and I.
Donnie collected our last episode.
Because we also have, just to be clear, we have other Web3 podcasts, and we're seeking to get those sponsored by the relevant people that can sponsor those, which is also why we're in these other podcast collectives, not just for our Aavegotchi content. So essentially why we're coming to the DAO with this is because it is a 60-minute Aavegotchi infomercial. And if Aavegotchi DAO won't pay for it, why would any other sponsor pay for it? Whereas if Aavegotchi DAO does pay for this, then it's an opportunity for other people to say, oh, wait, this is an official thing. They're very much like hand on the shoulder of this show. So maybe we want to put sponsorships on this, and maybe we want to be more involved in this show because it's closer to, the Aavegotchi DAO itself.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment, but at the same time, I can look at what No Future is saying, and he's saying the DAO package should be separate, but still proposed by y'all. I think there should be separation between the marketing and the DAO stuff, just because there was a lot of conversation around that, optics of that before. And, I feel like we should take that feedback into account. Like that was feedback from before.
Yeah, we thought that this was separate enough to do it as 2 tiers. We are separating it in the sense that the DAO media stuff has its own artwork. It doesn't look like From A to Z. We use the Figma pack that the DAO media crew were using. So we keep it separate in that way. It wouldn't be branded as From A to Z, anything we do for the DAO. The only reason we wrote it as one proposal is because we figured it would work as tiers and that maybe it looked better together. A lot of people complain that when you put proposals in separate, they don't see the whole picture. So we wanted to give you the whole picture of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. That's 20 minutes there, but I mean, appreciate going through the proposal. I think I still kind of agree with the sentiment of maybe separating the two as 2 different proposals, and so people can clearly see what they're kind of voting for. But at the same time, I see where you're coming from with, the optics of having Aavegotchi DAO sponsoring your show could look really good. Yeah. Does anybody else have any last minute comments here before we move on to the next call here? Coder Dan, to be honest, guys, the DAO would be overpaying for the engagement. You're currently getting 12,000 for 3 months. Is a lot. It's 3,000 it's 3,000 DAI a month, right? I mean, that is, that's a serious amount of money.
Most Web3 podcasts like Rehash and UFO, for instance, get a lot less or similar views to us, and they're getting paid a lot more. So crypto podcasting is in a much different bracket than usual podcasting marketing. But no, I do appreciate everyone's feedback, and that's why we were hoping to get more in the forum. So if people could join in there with more, we would appreciate it. And I appreciate the DAO having us up here and giving us the time to, let you know our ideas.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely, think about the marketing. I think maybe you're onto something there, but maybe a sweetheart deal for the DAO. Show them, what you guys can do, and then maybe the DAO is going to be impressed and pay up even more. I mean,
we've done it free for over a year. That was the sweetheart deal.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Appreciate you guys coming up here and running through your proposal here today.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us.
All right. On to the next here. We have the channeling change discussion. This is just a quick discussion. I wanted to spend 10 minutes on it. It seemed like people were quite upset, and maybe this is on the DAO, this is on us. During the meetings, we didn't really have we've had thorough discussions on this before, but this proposal, from what I understand, there was one a couple months ago that got turned down, and we just left it at that. And now we have this -2 channeling proposal, and now we have another proposal also proposed by Quincy to actually cap it. And so cap it and have an opt-in for channeling when you're renting gotchis. So does anyone want to come up and express their thoughts on this? I know No Futuristic, you had spoken on this about how there wasn't very much discussion, that this proposal does hurt specific channelers within their community. Just want to get a temperature check on this one. I know the proposal is currently out there, or the SIG prop is anyway. Oh, you're in a loud Starbucks. I don't know. Is Al in here too? Yeah, Al, if you want to come up and speak on it, you can as well. I'll get you up here. You should be able to come up now. No futuristic. Also, I just want Al to give his talk and give an opportunity for people to give feedback. I'm clearly against it, but I also have ended most of my channeling, so it doesn't affect me anymore. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I tried to invite you up again. Maybe log in, log out.
I'm going to try inviting him up. Maybe that works.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right, well, maybe next, if he comes on, he can just go mute himself for now until we get to
Yeah.
Can circle back to him.
We got proposals to talk about over here. Alchemica spending competition. The community voted for quarterly spending competitions, with the next one starting April 17th. Aavegotchi board, V2, and guild infrastructure. By the way, I asked Mark if he can come up, but I don't think he was available today because of Easter. So this is just a summary, essentially, of the discussion there and kind of some points that were expressed. The community voted for quarterly spending competitions, with the next one starting April 17th. However, Gotchi board V2 and guild infrastructure not ready yet. Kind of waiting on Yannick, I think, for that one. We face a choice: start season 2 on April 17th with the same structure as season 1, or wait for Gotchi board V2 and have the next competition for season 3, for Q3. Sorry. So this was that competition we had just a couple months ago. I think top 50 highest Alchemica spenders in the Gotchiverse were awarded Ghost. And so there is overall, do we have statistics on how well that went? I know Coder Dan, you're saying actually it was like a 3x or something in spending from what we actually spent in Ghost or something. Like it was a significant amount.
Yeah, there's also a board, let me pull it up here, that shows pretty much where the current supplies are. So if you pull that board up, you can see the effect on FUD wasn't super strong from the competition. And I think that was expected because most of the stuff people were building didn't really use a lot of FUD. So FUD is pretty much continuing at its expected rate of increase. FOMO, when the competition did begin, we went from 17 million circulating supply all the way down to 10 million or 9 million. And then now we're up to 21. So obviously there's been a lot of FUD generated, but if you didn't have the competition, we'd probably be at 30 million right now. There's a very strong chance of that. So I think it did have some effect. If you look at alpha, we were at 17, and then we went down to 13, and now we're at 20. So most of the alpha was spent on the NFT displays. So we did get quite a few NFT displays created. And with alpha, most of it, people were mostly spending their Alchemica on FOMO harvesters and reservoirs. So personally, I don't think there was much like extra supply created from the competition for alpha because most people aren't mining it anyway. And the biggest winner was actually Keck. We went from 7 million down to about 5 million. And we haven't even reached what we were pre-competition yet with Keck. So we're still actually under the pre-competition levels for Keck.
Sorry. So what was that difference in from pre-competition to post?
With Keck, well, these are not exact numbers. It says 7 million, and then it went down to about 5, which could be rounded up. It might be something like 4.5. And then now we're currently back up to something under 7 million, probably like 675 or 650 million, 6.5 mil. So we're still under
Interesting.
what we were before the competition.
So emissions for all the other Alchemicas have gone back up over what they were, previously, except for Keck. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll post if you can open this on the stream, that might help people.
Let me
But I'll
open it
also
up.
just,
This is Dune Analytics, right?
yep, I just posted that,
Yeah.
the link. Yeah, nice. So yeah, the chart on the right is what you really, the chart on the left is basically the spending pattern of the Alchemica for that time. So you can see during the competition period, the spending went up a lot. And the competition basically begins about 2/3 of the way through, where you see kind of the stair step effect happening with the Alchemica. Yeah, the reverse stair step. And then after it ends, that's when you start seeing it go up linearly again.
And then we'll see another stair step, and then it'll keep going up, There's an opinion here, a comment that I wanted to address, and maybe this captures some sentiment. Devil's advocate sentiment against issuance. And I just curious to know what people think about it. This is from Quincy. He says, this was in this Discord forum. I'm strongly against anything that will further raise issuance. We have not done a study yet, which I kind of disagree with that, because we actually, we have a whole Dune dashboard to show this. But he says, there hasn't been enough studying to look at what effect it had on the economy. Somehow we are back to levels where before the last one, in 3 months, when it took considerably longer to get there. And so I think he's suggesting is in doing these, we're going to get back to the previous issuance a lot quicker every time we do a subsequent competition. Now, if you factor in that we had just increased the channeling spillover percentage coupled with high gas fees, we got there quickly. So he's just kind of posing, how are we thinking about this going forward? Is this kind of like just a reimbursement that's going to happen? Are we actually trying to increase the competitiveness of this? How are we increasing the competitiveness of these competitions? It is a lot of ghosts to spend, but if we're seeing there's something productive happening here, like more people obviously spending in the short term, that's good. But what are the long-term effects of doing this continuously every 3 months? Are we going to be in a bad place if we do 3 or 4 of these? Is that going to put the emissions in a bad place? I think he's kind of thinking ahead here, and I'm kind of curious to know what people think in regards to that. No futuristic. I support these comps, but only if they have a deco or decoration or non-yield bearing NFT included and given a multiplier that is favorable over farming assets. Keep emissions in check and create a nice sink. Even if it's mega protolix with 10% burn, each protolix summon would work well. Followed by Dr. Wagme here. I think the competition is still worth it, to be honest. I understand the increased emissions argument, but that means people are building, engaging, and planning to stick around. The only reason I've been saving all my Alchemica is knowing there's a competition coming up. Otherwise, I'd probably dump. Okay, interesting sentiment. Good to have that side of things as well. So it sounds like people, just reading the few comments here in the chat, it sounds like people are saying, these competitions could be interesting moving forward, but we'd like to see continued introduction of decorations, of really cool NFT displays, things that we can build aside from harvesters. I think would be one way to, for me, I'm not interested in building harvesters, but I'm very interested in spending a whole bunch of my Alchemica on a spending competition to build out my NFT displays on my parcel. And I'm not contributing to further emissions either. So there's kind of a win-win there as well by having that.
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit in the Hangout yesterday, where you could potentially, if we made a stronger protolith enemy, you could have a lot of the spending would probably end up being for that enemy and people, because you're going to get your Alchemica back. Like you get 90% of the Alchemica back that you spend. Now, who exactly gets that back is the interesting part, because one Gotchi owner probably can't kill that Protolith by themselves. So if you spawn it, you're going to need to get a gang of friends to help kill it together with you, and they're going to end up earning some of the Alchemica back. So you as the owner will get some back, but you might also have your friends also harvesting that Alchemica with you. And so you might see, right, you might see people just spawning these Protoliths, not being able to kill them, and like having to call the gang in and getting a lot of people to jump into the Gotchiverse. And this would be in the Citadel, by the way. This would not be in the arena, because we are planning to launch the Protoliths in the Citadel pretty soon.
Oh man, so this would be not only engaging, but it also add that competitiveness into the Alchemica spending, you know, because like you're spending Alchemica, but you're spending it on creating a competitiveness. Like you have to try and kill this thing. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. Kula Longus, hi Hefe. In my opinion, maybe on channeling reduction. Oh, he's speaking on channeling reduction. Reducing won't be a solution. Slowed, but the minting never stops. I think that's what we were talking about. I think a new burning mechanism for Alchemicas. Yeah, that's like the decorations, the NFT displays, and the Protoliths that we're talking about right now. I think could be another long-term solution. No futuristic. Yeah, full study with the concise summary. The Dune analytics is pretty basic for sure. Also pair my Alchemica with Rarity Farming Ghost to provide liquidity, since there's utility for me. Finally, it's a nice gesture to people who got completely wrecked on investing in land. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've heard firsthand stories from Dr. Wagner, so totally. Okay, I'm not going to spend any more time on this, but we're welcome to can either continue discussing, or if Mark wants to come up next week and talk about it, I'm happy to host him. Do we have any final comments on the chat, the Alchemica spending competition before we move on? Next up, we have T-Bird's Ghost Ship. T-Bird, come up, sir. Welcome, welcome.
GM, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a pleasure.
So yeah, I've got put a forum proposal, forum post in on the discourse about almost a year ago, back in May. I had a sale blowout, and I've been making it without that big for sale, but we do use it a lot. And I've been missing it, and I just thought before I ordered a new one, why don't I put it out there and see if could maybe get a little help from the DAO and help the DAO out, build some synergy, doing some marketing and offering a little bit of discounts and perks for normies to learn about Aavegotchi, and have them pretty captive audience on the boat, and successfully onboarding some people. So looking for a little bit of help from the DAO so I can get the sale. It's around $7,700, and it will take about 5 to 6 weeks to produce. I'm already getting a pretty good discount from the guy because we've ordered sales from him from the past 20 years. So yeah, got a forum post and a DAO discussion in the Discord, and yeah.
Yeah, nice. There's a couple things I put here in my notes. We did a little study right when we got together, kind of in a comparison for like billboards in your area, and kind of what those guys are charging per month, and what kind of exposure they get, And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but the billboard people in your area charge about $1,200 per month. Of course, you have limited availability, while your sale, I think you were saying, offers 5 to 10 years of exposure. Not only that, but it's on the water, and you also have active engagement, like follow-up engagement that you can have, which I thought was a major benefit.
Yeah, I think it's quite a different advertising method as opposed to a billboard, but it's a little hard to compare. But yeah, like they're all sold out in the area, and we get it's about 7 million people visiting our town, and I don't know. It's a family business, and the boat's been on our family for a long time. But just so it's not just like something I'm just trying to start up and get going. But so.
No, and yeah, let's iterate on that real quick too. This Ghost Ship initiative here is the start, right? Just to get the logo on the sail and to actually have it on the water. I know you guys have some presence in the past at regattas, and you're talking about Wednesday night sailboat race that you can lurk at. There's definitely places where you could get some really cool exposure. But this initiative actually is trying to foster a larger effort later down the line, once the DAO really sees what this is all about and that we actually got the sail up and out there. There's an opportunity here for us to come around and do some maybe content creation. There could be merchandising opportunities. Imagine a Ghost Ship board game. Like, that would be cool. In-person meetups, and just strengthening our bond between the DAO and just community supporters we see in IRL. So that was actually a lot. That was interesting to me. We don't need to cover that during this meeting because we're just basically saying we want to actually get the sail up there and get it branded and everything. Do you have further plans for the Ghost Ship in terms of branding aside from the sail? Do you have other like logos and stuff that you might be putting on the ship?
Yeah, last year I ordered some big, I guess they're almost like 40 inches wide and like 30 inches tall, 2 big logos to put on the front of the boat. But I've been wanting to repaint and put that on some fresh paint so it, will last longer. But I've already invested quite a bit in just some marketing stuff and some time putting onboarding videos onto my website. So normies can be like, oh, I can pay in Bitcoin or Ethereum and get 10% off. Or if I have an Aavegotchi, I get 50% off. And then I've got links and stuff. I've got a link to my website in the DAO forum. I didn't want to totally broadcast that everywhere because it's got all my cell phone on there, but I definitely want to be available for Gotchi Gang and DAO members to be able to come down and connect and, eventually do some real life experiences on the boat and bring everybody together, maybe even get the boat out to Miami I think there's a long runway and lots of doors that will be opened with this sale as far as media content and unique marketing anyways. So
yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know or not familiar with T-Bird, he's a longtime OG Aavegotchi member. You've actually already onboarded a few people through onboarding the Ghost Ship. And also something you just kind of mentioned, but worth reiterating, I think this might be the first and maybe even the only IRL experience you can, take part of today that's actually gated by your Aavegotchi. You can actually get a pretty fat discount owning an Aavegotchi with this. So definitely worth looking into if you're in that area. I'm going to read some of the comments out here. We see ZombieShepherd saying Fats can promote Ghost Ship 2, live on the Gulf Coast, have a large following as well. Dr. Wagme, I've been diving deep into the Nouns ecosystem lately. Their vibe and general push for an IRL presence has changed my perspective on what we would fund. I think an effort like T-Bird's Ghost Ship would absolutely be funded in the Nouns ecosystem as a decentralized brand building and community reaffirming effort.
And thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah. It's great to have the support. I will try to get a SIG prop whipped up. I've already met with you and Mike Halem and Thrax to kind of get a little bit of feedback on how to approach this. Definitely don't want to be like, oh, just a money grab for somebody's IRL business. I truly am totally dedicated to Aavegotchi, and it's changed my life. So I really want to be a good steward.
Yeah, lots of people saying really great things about you in the chat there. And some people saying things there. Yeah, okay.
My doors are open. DMs are open. If you find yourself on the Gulf Coast, I've already had Humble Bagger, Esmeralda, and then this other guy, Bob, who came out last year. He's now got I think, how many gotchis? I think 12 gotchis, 5 lands, including they're all spacious, 5 spacious partials. So he's a long time holder. So
nice.
He's a good guy, solid pickup, and can't wait to have you guys talk more.
Yeah, absolutely. Squeaks has a question for you. Where is it primarily docked?
Right outside of Corpus Christi. It's in a town called Port Aransas, which is just north of Padre Islands. So it's on the Corpus Christi ship channel. It's about it's in Texas, about 2 hours south of San Antonio, 3 hours away from Houston, 3 hours away from Austin. A lot of people from Dallas, all over. Yeah, fishing. We can fit probably, I've taken 15, 20 people out, no problem. It's a 45-foot boat, 28 feet wide. And it's made it through hurricanes and across the Gulf of Mexico 4 times and out to the Bahamas and over to Miami. It's been all over. So it's kind of my pride and joy and my mission to keep that boat alive and afloat. So just pumped. Yeah, right outside of Corpus.
Love it. We'll have to
And
take
I did over 120 trips last year. So most of them are this time of year, May through September, but I also do get quite a few people because we have nice weather in the winter too, occasionally. So we run year rounds and we get a lot of visibility from all the tour boats, all the people from the shore on the beach.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I think really good sentiment around this proposal. And so, some really great benefits. Of course, we always have to mention all the benefits, but also there are some very, very, very minor risks that we always got to talk about in the proposal. It's just, this is going to be subject to weather, although you do take good care of your sails from what I've heard. So I don't know if we really have to worry about
our last one lasted over 10 years. We weren't using the boat regularly or the sail regularly. It's probably why it lasted so many years. But I expect we'll easily get good 5-10 years out of the sail, and it's going to look great. It's made in Florida, St. Petersburg, by this guy named Dave Calvert. He's been making multi-hull sails for over 30 years. So he's
wow. Awesome.
Makes a quality product. And we're getting a good discount. That's about $1,300 off, just for being a repeat client. So
no futuristic saying here. 10 years is only $700 a year for marketing for the whole brand. So
fingers crossed it lasts 10 years. But I really appreciate all the support. Don't want to take up too much time.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming up here and sharing everything with us. And we'll be keeping an eye on that ghost ship, man. I know we mocked up a little sale the other day, and that got me excited. So
it comes like 5 to 6 weeks after I pay him for it. I asked him if he took crypto. He said he didn't. So we'll work that out. It's about $80 to $100 in shipping, and happy awesome. To. DMs are open. If any questions or comments.
Absolutely. Thank you, T-Bird.
Think so.
All right. That was awesome. Next up, we got Rickage and Artcore on Aavegotchi Botanica. This is a big-brained idea, so I've done my best to kind of reduce it to its core components. But of course, let's get these two fellas up here and have them talk about it.
GM.
Welcome, fellas. GM.
Hi.
So I'm just going to introduce you guys. You're Rickage and Artcore OG Aavegotchi members, and you're going to be talking about Botanica. So Botanica is a kind of innovative concept that you've been working on that encompasses everything that grows, trees, plants, herbs, through a kind of garden UI that you're trying to put together here.
Yeah.
And so I'll let you guys. I see you put a presentation together here.
Can I share the screen? Actually.
Yep, you can actually share your screen for sure.
But do you need to give me rights or because?
Maybe I can only share my screen.
So can I? I'm gonna send you a link then. Hold on, let me.
Okay, send me a link. Yep, I'll open it up. Yeah, first question, how do you pronounce Rickage? Or we're just going to call you Ricky G from
Ricky
now on.
G is fine, yeah.
All right.
You have it in your DM.
Oh, in my DMs. Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm not a little bit doxed there, but
no, you're good. You are good. Okay, you should be able to see this. The Gotchiverse Botanica update.
Yeah. Yeah. So so I'm Ricky G. And together with Arcor, we started together to put some idea for Gotchiver's gameplay. So first we're gonna present you this idea. It's gonna take about 10, maybe 12 minutes. And after that, we're gonna do Q&A, ask some questions regarding development maybe. So we see how it goes. Okay.
Hello.
Arcor.
Yeah, cool. Hi, everybody. I just managed to open my microphone just right now. So to begin with, I think I'm gonna quote the lore from the Bible. 9 there were and 9 there shall be. Heed the warnings of the ancient tree. So today you're gonna learn about what Botanica is and its new installation, Garden. Also, we're going to tell you about garden gameplays, seeds economy, tree gameplay, and gardening skills. At the end, we will give you a summary about fun aspects in the game and what we're going to have in the future as a plan, kind of roadmap or wherever. So, what is Botanica? Botanica is a real way to farm on your own lands, with gotchis getting busy doing gardening with love, without burning them kinship, but making them unable to channel the altar. It is a way of burning channeling function for gotcha gardeners. Basically, Botanica is everything that grows. That is a real way to farm on your own lands, with gotchis getting busy with doing gardening by love. You grow Botanica on your parcels through Garden UI in Gotchiverse, which is provided by Garden Installation. In our gardens, you can grow trees, also you can grow plants, herbs, fruits, veggies, and berries. Once any Botanica is harvested, you could trade them, place them on your parcel to beautify it, or you can use it in recipes such as a resource later. Garden
I
is a
guess
new
you have,
installation.
sorry, just real quick, just to get through, just to clarify this one point, there's 2 components here. You got your tree component and then you got your plants component, right? So there's the tree gameplay.
Can you please keep the questions till we're gonna finish the
Oh,
presentation? Because we're gonna have a time after presentation to answer all of the questions you're gonna get.
Okay,
guys,
perfect.
all right?
Yeah, I'm gonna save my questions for the end then.
Thanks.
I got
So Garden is a new installation
I've been
Gotchiverse.
told.
Garden
All right.
is 8x8 sized installation and further called as a tile. Each garden tile gives you 1 growing slot in Garden UI. If parcel has at least 1 garden tile, you have access to Garden UI. Garden UI is displayed by clicking on any garden tile. Dark forest spirits lurks in shadows. Gotchi's hearts are opened to deal with those matters. Now, Ricky G.
So have put the next slide there. Yeah, so we prepare.
Next one with the Garden UI, please.
Okay, are you there? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So maybe get one slide top. Like return one slide. There was a garden. Like what is garden? Arthur was telling about it. Yeah. So basically, you're crafting garden tile, and you place it on the parcel. And when you press garden tile, garden UI is going to open.
Rickage,
So
their
the
audience is saying they're having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's
you sound like you're
no?
very far away.
Okay. Is it better or no? Hold on.
Yeah,
now?
no. Yeah, just put your volume up in yeah, put your volume up in Discord maybe.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Give me a sec.
He complained about the connection quality before the call, so maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, it could be the connection.
Better now? Yeah, it's better now. Is it better?
A little bit. I mean, it's more or less the same. I can still hear you though. If you guys have trouble hearing him, maybe just turn up the user volume on your end.
It's yeah.
There you
Okay.
go. Yeah, that's better.
Alright, that's better.
Whatever you did worked.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get back then.
Go.
Okay, so let's go to the Garden UI. So one slide down, please. Yeah, so this is Garden UI, right? And so you have growing slots. Each growing, like the amount of growing slots depends on the amount of garden tiles you have on the parcel. Each growing slot has also rarity. And the rarity of the growing slot is based on the level of garden tile. So you have 6 levels of garden tiles, and there are 6 rarities. And so how you plan the botanica to the garden? Next slide, please, Hefe.
Yep.
When you click on the garden slot, you get growing UI, right? And you can see it here. So you have few components here. So you have like on the right is botanica inventory, right? Something like forge inventory. So you have seeds, and when you want to start growing, you need to use seeds, and each costs some alchemica, and it takes time to harvest. So when you press grow button, you're gonna consume the seed, effectively destroy it, and you're gonna pay alchemica slot, and you start growing. Yeah. So now Arthur.
Long ago, before Tree of Thought being corrupted, the Great Nine hide the seeds of life in the Genesis boxes. Unfortunately, no one knew where did they hid them, and the legend being long forgotten after the Great Nine sacrificed themselves. All of the seeds have its container. A tree seed comes from cones, a plant seeds come from pods.
Next slide, Hefe. Sorry.
All right.
You receive cones and pods. You receive cones and pods from planted and grown trees when the conditions are met. Cones and pods are reskinned geodes. You open them same way as loot box in the other games. Rarity of cones and pods are similar to how geodes work. Opening cone or pod makes a VRF call via chain link. VRF call decides how rare your seed will be and amount of the seeds you get. Cones and pods have same rarity levels as variables we have in our ecosystem. Forest leaves and forest remember, spread your gotchi love deeds, and you will face deserved meads. Now, Ricky G.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, next slide. Cool. So then this is
this is why we asked to share the screen, because we were kind of synchronized and wherever now.
Yeah.
Don't
Sorry,
worry.
I'm trying to do my best here with this. We're using Gamma right now, but yeah,
No
I'll try
worry,
and keep up with
dude.
you guys.
It's going the way it's going now.
That's okay. That's okay. So tree gameplay is probably my favorite part. So you basically grown at the garden. You minted the tree NFT, just the sampling, and so you can trade it or you can plant it on your own parcel. And so planting this tree gives you access to tree UI. Each tree has its own tree UI, and the aspect of the tree gameplay is the last aspect. So if you go on the next slide, Hefe.
Yep.
So this is the tree gameplay, right? So what means like lab aspect? So lab aspect means interaction, Gotchi's interaction with tree. So there is this lab meter you can see. There are like levels, and you need to make interaction with Gotchi. There's a button hack the tree. So and it tracks like which Gotchis are being used. So only like by Gotchi ID, right? So one Gotchi can give only one hack to one tree, and lab meter will increase. But you need a lot of lab in order to fill the lab meter. And as you fill the lab meter, it like unlocks the rewards for you. So what you get? So you get cone, which is what we already said. It's a container for seeds. So it's the economy, right? And you can only get one cone from one tree in its lifetime. So you need to reach some last parameter, and you can harvest this cone. Same goes with pots, but because we want to use the plants in more usage, there's gonna be more levels for pots. So you can harvest more pots from the tree than the one just as a cone. And then there is a gameplay. If you go on go one up, hardcore one, no hardcore, sorry, hefe one, yeah. So aging the tree. So there is this idea that actually when you reach some level of WAF, you can upgrade your tree to higher like older level. So there is like sapling, young tree, adult tree, elder tree, and ancient tree. And the important part here is what I envision is that the DAO will actually buy carbon credits from Nori. Let's say there will be smart contract between the carbon credit treasury and between three NFTs. And once you upgrade to older form of the tree, some carbon credit will be used. So effectively, we will be burning carbon credits for our forest. And and the important part as well is that you cannot speed up this process with glitter, right? So all the aging is very natural, and we're gonna get to hardcore now for our jobs.
Pitchfork and gloves, shovel and jeans,
Next
pickaxe
slide.
and water. Care for Botanica, it must be never forgotten. Now we're going to tell you about new Aavegotchi skill gardening. Gotchi will have a new skill gardening, same as Gotchi have forging skill. Gotchi improved its skill based on how long it's dedicated to gardening. You can approve Gotchi for a job only if it's not channeled and it was not channeled at least one day before locking to job. You must choose how to spend your Gotchi day in Gotchiverse, effectively reducing alchemical emissions. Available jobs for gardening. You approve Gotchi to garden in Garden UI, then your harvest time will be going faster on all Botanica in growing slots. You approve Gotchis for job at each tree nursery for planted trees on your parcel, and your trees will upgrade faster. So now we're gonna tell you our summary about what kind of fun aspects we see in this proposal and our future vision, something that could be in our roadmap if DAO will decide that it's worth it. So fun. Deciding how to use your parcel, you need space for garden tiles and trees. Choosing a great path for your garden tiles so you would optimize your garden UI and it looks. Working in garden UI, optimizing your harvesting. Choosing how to use your gotchis with their available channeling token and to be burned with the work in gardens. Going to your forest from time to time to harvest pods from your trees. Exciting process of opening cones and pods. Botanica economy and its cones, pods, and seeds. People gathering events by throwing super chat parties to hack trees for love path in tree gameplay that unlocking your rewards. Upgrading your aging trees and its additional features. Getting proud of your ancient forest through carbon credits usage. And the future vision. You can find seeds in geodes as loot in the Gotchiverse. Once districts are open, there will be big demand for whales to beautify roads and building parks. There is so much land and capital to grow Botanica. Beginning of variables schematics burn. You burn schematics and receive cone, pod, or seeds or other resources. Use case for Botanica NFTs, sapling from garden. We could use it in receipts for defensive installations, such as ballista, walls, traps, alarms, mines, and so on. Find more utility for ancient trees. Let's say we have a knowledge tree and it's in the ancient form, so it could provide one-time transfer of 30 XP from one gotchi to another, just as example. Starting additional job market with available jobs for the future. Brewing, you can brew potions. Cooking, you can cook food for buffs. And joinery, where you can craft the things that made of wood. And zero BRS variables that affect gardening, brewing, cooking, and joinery crafting processes, or use gotchi stats to affect the jobs they do. So now, guys, we want to hear some answers that WikiG, we want to ask some questions that WikiG have for Kododan, as I know about some technical details, and after this we can have questions if we're gonna still have a time for this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think,
and, audience members, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. I'll go through them shortly.
Obviously, I'm just gonna maybe say, like we try to condense a lot of stuff into this, and but the post, if you read the post, it's about maybe 9 pages or 10 pages A4. So a lot of thoughts went into this. I think for me this metaverse feature is so exciting, like, because sure, like you can have 100 gotchis, right? So you're gonna be able to do like to hug the tree a lot, maybe with your own transaction, but not not everybody's well, right? So if I have few gotchis, I will need to throw party to, or I need to like search market for the rentals in order to be able to like do this tree component, like fill up. So what I need envisioning is, like, let's say you have 20 trees on the parcel, and you will like gather, you will be throwing parties basically in order to bring people on your parcel to to hug the trees, because it gives you this reward. So that's exciting for me. And there's more to it, right? That's like a lot of economy thinking went into this. So we definitely looking some Genesis events. It's either like airdrop cones or pods to the Aavegotchi asset holders and start economy, because you only can get one cone from the tree. It has a chance to get you 2 seeds or 3 seeds, but it will definitely give you sometimes only 1 seed. So basically, like, we can play economics really well, right? Like, we have only limited land and we have only limited seeds, and you can like play with it. I didn't do like super in-depth economy analysis because I didn't have time for it, but like definitely I would love to do it maybe later on. And so maybe my first question would be on Dan, because I think the Wagner, right? It's he's saying,
I'd like to address them. I'd like to definitely bring up Dr. Wagner's question here. He says, I love the time and energy put into this, but it's an enormous lift for the PC team as essentially a brand new game in the Gotchiverse. I don't even know how the community can help build it, but then we have Coder Dan also following up here saying, yes, it is a massive task, but I think we would need to ideate on how we could possibly unlock community developer potential to achieve this. I guess my question to you guys is, there's been a lot of ideation and planning that has gone into this. What are you guys thinking from an execution perspective? Are you thinking this is a call to action for the DAO, that we need to get a team together, around this idea to make it happen? Or are you guys currently in the process of finding appropriate talent to, get this plan executed? I kind of want to know your perspective on that aspect of it, right?
No, for me it was just last project. Like I was always thinking metaverse is very very exciting for me, and so I was always thinking like, what could be things we can do there, right? Like what's meaningful and what's not. And I think also carbon usage in streets it's very meaningful, right? Like, so all our trees using carbon. So you can show this, like real impact on the world. Like, okay, let's look at my parcel. I care about this. So and so this was like so this was just ideation, right? We didn't go to the phase because we need to speak with Dan what he thinks about it. Like, could even DAO like say something about Gotchiverse, maybe development, and so yeah. But I mostly wanted to like excite people about the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
With this idea.
No, I think it's a great idea, especially with the plants. I think there's a huge potential there with plants and tying that into herb lore. So herb lore is potion crafting.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm kind of curious to know from Dan's perspective how you guys see this jiving with current plans PC has, or future plans like what we have on Gotchi Chain. How do you see this? Just from what you've seen in this presentation, do you see there being a place for plants and trees and just flora in the Gotchiverse?
For that question, yeah, I definitely think there's a strong place for flora in the Gotchiverse. We haven't really seen a bunch of it yet, but I think there is definitely a strong need for this kind of botanica in the game, however it gets created. So strongly agree with kind of where this proposal is coming from. Like, we want different ways to beautify the game for sure. How exactly we get to that is the question here. So there's a couple aspects to this proposal. I'm assuming that all of the trees and kind of the hugging and the love would kind of be on chain. So like the way it was written out, it sounds like everything would be kind of on a smart contract, kind of like how we have. I'm almost imagining kind of the queue with fake gotchis where people like a post to show that they support it. So something's kind of similar to that for like growing a tree. But that wouldn't be. I would say the smart contract side, it would be complicated and it would need to be properly spec'd out. But that's probably the easier part. Smart contracts, once they're deployed, they're deployed. They can just kind of do their thing. I guess the tougher part would be on the Gotchiverse side. We'd have a ton of new assets to support. So that each asset means like a new 3D file and a lot of integration with the smart contract. So definitely would add some work. And like I said, it's not happening yet, but at some point the Gotchiverse is going to be made open source so we can potentially have developers working together with Pixelcraft on it. Right now, it's very complicated. Like, the back end is extremely complicated, but we are working on simplifying that back end so it would actually be easier for people to come in and build directly into the Gotchiverse without having to learn like a bunch of new repos on GitHub. So I think it's a interesting proposal for sure. I do have plenty of questions about, like, beyond the aesthetics, is there any kind of earning part with this? It sounds like you get some cones or some seeds, basically like you make a tree so that you can make more trees. I'm trying to figure out if there's any earning aspect of this that we need to think about.
Yeah, well, so it brings value, right? So why would you want to do it, right? So it all, like, the most important part is gonna probably tie to fighting, right? So we're using potions, so we're gonna be using plants, and only way to get plants is from the trees. Like, tree is this like incredibly important part of the Gotchiverse. All the life depends on them. So and your trees will only value if Gotchis take care of the tree. So you're getting pods from the trees, and pods include seeds. Right? You open the pod, the same as Geo. So you get seeds for the plant and you grow it. And when you use it as a resource in potion, this is destroyed. So you need another clone. You need more seeds. So, and that's where you get to tree gameplay. It's just fun, right? Like you want to actually show, maybe you care about the environment, and you want to grow like big ancient forest. and so you're gonna be throwing parties there, and it may be fun by itself, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So it starts together like that, like to do. And the fun part for me is like you cannot feed the grow process of trees with glitter. You only can use your Gotchi as a job, and the job is that your Gotchi cannot be channeled. So we actually have maybe like beginning of market, like job market in the Gotchiverse, and people will use their Gotchis different way, not just for channeling, but they will have to decide, like I'm not gonna channel because I wanna work the job. And yeah, so that's like this is also like the vision, basically, like what could be the vision for Gotchiverse in some aspects, I think. And I don't know if I answered you, but
yeah, no, I
it
think
just starts together.
Yeah. The idea of like having different, so Alchemica, if we think of it as like the base layer of materials in the Gotchiverse, everything like Alchemica is formed from the elements, and then other elements like bigger, more complicated elements are kind of created from the Alchemica. So this sounds to me like we're basically using Alchemica to form it into the trees, and the trees will create some materials that you could potentially use to create like a potion, or maybe a protolic, or various items in the game. And actually,
sorry.
This kind of leads into a point that we have been thinking here at Pixelcraft about, like the potions. The way we're currently selling them is not really the way we are planning to do that forever. Like we don't want to just have a shop where you can go in and buy stuff super easy, like by just spending out Alchemica. Kind of boring. So at some point there'll be we'll make more use of the Gotchi inventory, and the idea was that you could be walking around and you could like find an item that you could that would be like part of a crafting recipe for a protolic. You couldn't just go and buy one. You'd have to kind of go out and grind for those materials and look for them, hunt for them. Like
I actually was actually imagining it this way, because you're gonna put that in your inventory. For example, like you cut the pods or the cone from the tree, and then you open it, and then you have it, and you use all the time. You use your inventory because it's gonna be also additional like on-chain transactions, and of course more interaction with the inventory that Aavegotchis have. And right now we don't really use it that much.
Yeah, and also
like for it yet, but the inventory is an off-chain thing at the moment, and even when we go to Gotchi chain, I don't think we really want to make it on-chain. We could try it, but it's going to be, I would say there's going to be a lot of, it depends on how fast the execution of transactions actually is on Gotchi chain. Like if it's 1 to 2 seconds, then it'd be okay, but if it's still like 3 or 4 seconds, I think you'll want to have the inventory off chain like we currently have, which is not ideal, but it is kind of what it is. So yeah, it's just about the inventory, but the trees and stuff being on chain, to me that makes a lot of sense, because you could mint something and on chain and then send it to the user in game, and it would appear in their inventory. So that would kind of be the same, and then you could also withdraw it from the game like we do with Alchemica. So we're working on a system to support stuff like that, where you might earn an item in game, and then you can later bring it out and convert it into an NFT that you could then trade on the bazaar or whatever.
Yeah, and also like you can potions. There could be potion brewing, right? So if you wanna make potion, you need to do the job, right? Not to channel inside Gotchiverse. Like you need to actually approve Gotchi for it, and you're not going to be able to channel. So yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea of jobs. Yeah, it's very RuneScapey, very cool.
I love that.
Yeah, I think there's lots to it, right? It's hard maybe to understand everything. So yeah, I would be happy to, if like if you schedule like or somebody from Pixelcraft like to maybe schedule something and I explain it more detailedly maybe. But I understand it's probably far away, but I think this could be something that community could be excited about, like how metaverse could work, and maybe because like we don't see it, right? This is everything is new here. So I mean, in general, right? Aavegotchi metaverse and everything. So yeah.
And also the jobs in the future gonna give us the space to bring the variables that gonna have no BRS, but people want the new variables, and that variables gonna bring the only usage for the skills, for the jobs, and affecting the time of wherever any effect that's gonna bring. So I think this is something that we was looking for too.
Can you maybe elaborate a little bit on what you mean by the wearables without BRS and how you see those fitting in?
For example, you have a shovel in your hands and give you zero BRS, but it's speeding up your process of gardening. Or you have like a hammer that give you zero BRS, but it's speeding up your process of blacksmith. Or you have, I don't know, a chainsaw that's speeding up the process of cutting the wood and working in the joinery to build the ballista or wherever. I'm just like speaking out loud. It's not like on the script or set in stone, but I'm just like, I just realize it. It's gonna made by this way. It's like also might be combined with a forge burning the real variables to like obtain this kind of equipment, and it might be like having the different ways of rarity of items. I don't know, something that could be discovered.
Yep.
I also think like the VR skull, right? So I was speaking. So Geo's gonna use like 0.001 link, like less than the opening of Portal. So we can have like a lot of fun opening cones and pods for seeds, and people would be excited about it because it would be packed to get better seeds, right? Because you can always open better rarity of the seeds, but sometimes it would throw you back. So you have, for example, you have uncommon cones, that actually you're guaranteed to have at least one seed in the cone, but this cone could be common. So you're gonna have setbacks, like you're probably gonna go up with your growing, but sometimes there will be setbacks. So I think it could be like also this VR aspect, like people I think would have fun, opening loot boxes.
Great. Yeah, super cool proposal, guys.
Yeah, well done.
What are the next steps on this? I mean, obviously it's going to take some time to keep fleshing things out, but no pun intended.
First of all, we would like to have engagement with community and see what DAO sees to be worthy to like put. We need to put the priority of development, and we need to understand what kind of steps we should take first. Because, for example, there is like plants that could be moved to like the second stage, and the trees is like the main gameplay that we were thinking about, like because in the end it's gonna make you like maybe able to have features like transferring XP or kinship or wherever, because like in the matter of upcoming kinship burn, it might be also like an option for people to seek for like some rebalance, or like there is a lot of comments that our curve of rewards is kind of boring, it's never moving, so that also can like bring some fresh air.
Yeah, the question maybe here, Kodana, is if you think that we can like maybe search the community for developers, I don't know how you feel about it, right? Because art is also important here. Like Aavegotchi is because there's a ton of art needed. And like it's not something I think we can do right now alone, maybe, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, I wanted more maybe speak with you about it, like what you think.
I'll just speak on it real quick, just from what I've seen in the community. I like the approach that, what Dr. Wagme did there is he saw a need or something cool that he wanted to build on the protocol, and he got together the team that was able to execute that plan. So that might be the way forward, in my opinion, and how I would probably approach this is to find the necessary resources you need as a team, and then work out the budget, the specifics, and then put a proposal out for that, funding the whole team and funding your effort for developing this, even if it's to get it to an MVP stage and you guys need seed funding to get started, to make sure that you can able to pay a developer for some basic work, some basic artwork.
Yeah, sure, for sure. But the Forge idea was based on the assets on the blockchain. So there was no connection with like Gotchiverse, which is Pixelcraft. Like there's servers of Pixelcraft and some code, right? And it's not only so Gotchiverse, like it takes information from blockchain, but it's not entirely it.
Yeah,
so,
it's more of a collaborative effort for sure. I agree.
Yeah. And
but,
especially,
I mean,
it is a collaborative. We kind of view it as almost like a collaborative art project that we're working on together with the community. And so I think there is room especially as we start moving towards Scotchy chain, we want to, and also some improvements on our side that will make the code and just the overall infra easier for people to work with. There might be some room coming up for kind of opening it up a little bit more and allowing a little bit more of the community created aspect to start kind of seeping into the Gotchiverse. We don't want to, I'm going to be very clear. We don't want to be the sole developers of Gotchiverse forever. That's not what we're trying to achieve with it. It's just, it's taken a while to get the fundamentals down before we can kind of start opening it up to more people to contribute to it.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and I understand it's kind of heavy.
We just have to wait for
Gotchi
Gotchi chain, right?
That deliver everything alone.
Yeah.
So you gotta need the help, guys. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, I like your comment there, Artcore. We really need you to tell us what you like, what you don't, what is important, what is not. We just need your opinion as a DAO, so we can choose the right steps to execute. And so, yeah, everybody in here, where can people continue this conversation? Where's your forum post? Is it Discourse or is it DAO forum?
Yeah, we actually should probably, let me, it's better on the DAO forums like big one because the post is big, but
Botanica update. Okay.
Yeah, let me, yeah, it's there. It's already pinned.
Yep. Yeah, you got it there. You got the link. So check that out. Give them your feedback. Let's refine this idea. Let's make it something that the DAO can get behind. And I'm looking forward to seeing this idea come to fruition. So really appreciate you guys putting together this proposal. You guys worked really hard on it. While we're talking about gardening, I'm going to show my lens post here. I do Gotchi Gardener every week. I do a gardening post every week. Follow me as I grow my IRL garden. So
that's
okay. Bye. Thank you for having us.
Right.
Bye.
Thank you everybody for attention. Bye.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. That brings us pretty much to the end. I'm not going to take too much of your guys' time here. I was going to do a walkthrough with DAO Lens, but I actually did like a whole hour and a half interview on Thursday with the DAO manager founders. So I'm going to just plug this in the chat here. I highly recommend having a look at this. I think this is a tool that Aavegotchi DAO will find really interesting. It might be the missing link for what we need for hosting documentation, having intelligent documents that we can actually talk to, integrating our discourse and our Discord. I know Coder Dan, you were having some concern about losing that archive. With DAO Lens, it'll actually download the whole archive for everything in Discourse and keep it running so that we can actually link Discourse and Discord together, and so that there's two-way communication there. In addition to proposals, so proposals can summarize proposals. You can it's ChatGPT powered, so you can ask it things like give me a 2-week summary of all the proposals that were posted, and it will give you a 2-week concise summary of all the proposals. So even as a community coordinator like myself for the DAO, I feel like it's a really powerful tool, and I think it could take the DAO to the next level, kind of put the A in autonomous and help us automate some of our processes. Also integrates into Gnosis. And so we could do some treasury management there as well. It can actually help us aggregate our spending and provide a weekly treasury report. Actually, yeah, another thing, everybody go sub to the Aavegotchi DAO channel. We got 4 subscribers, but from now on, all the DAO meetings, all the DAO content, the community call, and any of these like special one-off interviews that I do will be up there for you on Aavegotchi DAO. So you can follow Aavegotchi DAO, get all your updates there in one place. Shout out to Choina for also securing the Twitter. I'll get the Twitter up and running this week, and we'll have the Aavegotchi DAO Twitter for you guys to follow as well. Trying to, align all the information under Aavegotchi DAO right now. So, Laggin already brainstorming on the garden. That's awesome. That's all we got. I'm not going to take too much of your time here. I know it's Sunday. I know you want to go enjoy your weekend. I appreciate everybody coming out to this call. Coder Dan, do you have any last minute announcements or, things to say?
Thinking here. Nothing super pressing at the moment, I would say.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the DAO Lind, but I am looking forward to watching that this week. And if there's any follow up on what we need to do to get that integrated, do let me know.
Yeah, I'll keep in touch with you. I'm gonna spin up just a test instance of it so I can show, have a little demo to run through one of these weeks. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'll touch base with you on there this week. Yeah, Senate, another reminder here, Thrive Coin discussion tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. my time, Pacific Standard Time. Join Senate and Thrive Giraffe, I believe, for the Thrive Coin discussion. Yeah, don't forget to vote for Strategachi if you haven't done already. Don't forget to vote on all the proposals if you haven't done already. And yeah, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yep. Thanks, friends. Have a great week. Have a great Sunday.
Later, friends.
See ya.